everyone, it's Jen here. Welcome to my channel. So today I just felt like relaxing and doing just a little bit of sketching. So I thought, I hadn't drawn a lioness in a while. I thought I would sit back and do a micron pen and watercolour drawing of a lioness just sitting on a rock. So I start by drawing the outline in pencil, so I get all the proportions, where I want them, how I want them, adjust and readjust here and there, but get the basic outline to the general shape that I want. And then I go back in with my micron pen, and I used a 0.005 and then also a 0.02 just to add the shading, just both black pens. And yeah, I love the microns, Pigma Micron. They're a really good pen. And yeah, so I go over the basic outline once I'm happy with the pencil. And you can see I've moved the eye a little bit, and I shade in the mouth, and then I add a little bit of texture like fur sort of pen strokes just to rough up the outline so it's not just a flat line. And yeah, I also will add a little bit of shading with some cross hatch to help just create a little bit of depth in the fur. And when I add the watercolour over the top, you'll still be able to see those little shading lines that I've done in the mouth and just under his little leg and everywhere else and around his eyes. Yeah, that'll show through the watercolour, which is one of the things that I love about watercolour. And this is just a postcard size sketch too. I've got a little postcard watercolour block, which these are handy if you want to create little sketches. You can also you can use them for birthday cards, all that kind of Christmas cards. And yeah, I like to do these little fun sketches, and then if I like them and they work out okay, I'll give them away as gifts for people's birthdays. So as you can see, I've done a little bit more shading, and now I go in with my watercolour. So over the top of the lioness, first of all, I add one very watery layer of the yellow ochre. And while that's still wet, I drop in yellow ochre, so a little bit more paint, a little bit less water, and you can see that creates a darker ochre colour, but also it flows around, so it keeps it with a soft edge, which is what I want. So now I add a little bit of burnt umber over the top while that's all still wet, so that will also flow into the yellow ochre. And because they're all sort of different tones of brown, they blend really well. It doesn't clash, none of the colours clash. So it keeps it all nice and flowing and all looking, yeah, like it's meant to be. So, and the darkest darks I save for the shadow areas. And you can see I'm just using very, very watery washes. And there's not a whole lot of detail. I literally use the three colours, like yellow ochre with lots of water, yellow ochre with less water, and then burnt umber. So for the stone that the lioness is sitting on, I use sepia, and I take that around and I just create lots of wet, like wet in wet. So I just add the sepia first, then I add some more sepia, less water, so it's darker, and then I also add a bit of burnt umber into the shadows. So now around the outside of the lioness, I'm just going to create a big wet wash and drop in some cobalt blue just to create the sky. So I take that round, wet the whole lot of the paper with a tiny, like a fine wash of blue, and then I add in a little bit more blue while that's still wet and let that soak around. And that creates a lovely sky with cloud texture. And now I go back in and just add a little bit more texture to the rock and some deeper, darker shadows. I use a little bit more sepia, but I add a lot less water, so it's much darker in the shadow areas around the lioness. And we're just about done. So this was a fun little sketch. I hope you enjoyed it. I'd love it if you click like and subscribe. Click on the bell. That way you'll see more videos when I release them. And I hope you have a great day. I'll see you next time. Okie doke. Bye.